Okay, I'm just going to give it a minute for people to get in and just to make sure everything's running okay. For the record, this is not going to be uploaded straight to YouTube. This is going to go through some... Maxstone! Go through some editing. So it's going to get taken down, then re-uploaded. But everyone's chat should still be on screen. How are we all doing anyway? When's 27? Don't ask me at Xenoverse.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, don't ask anything about that.
Just the rule of this live stream today is just don't talk about Xenoverse. It's not cancelled or anything, just... I don't want to. That's it. Hey Mac Rock. Hey Mary. Now, I have... Yep, I got all the access I need to the chat here. So that's jolly good. So, okay, I think we'll just actually get on with it now. Official intro, which will be edited in now. Hi, everybody. So, this is like this live stream has nothing really to do with anything. This was just something I've wanted to do for a while, and talk about specifically Elder Scrolls 6. And I've been wanting to do this for months, just speculation on what it could be. There'd been a lot of rumours going around for months, and then of course E3 comes along, and not only do we get the official reveal that it is indeed a thing, no huge surprise, but we also do have Fallout 76 as well, which we actually do have information that we can discuss rather than just speculation. Also, Sam has been desperate to talk about this with someone for days now. Ben doesn't listen to him anymore apparently, and yeah, so...
It's not Ben that doesn't listen to me anymore. You can't say... Don't get making sweeping statements like that.
I was quoting you from yesterday.
Casino is cancelled Stephen.
That's what you said yesterday. Doesn't want to talk to you about it.
It wasn't... I just don't think he's that interested.
Bah. We'll see if he pops up in the chat or not, and you can tell us himself.
He's stuck in Sweden at the moment, so I don't think he will be able to do that. Todd Howard jerked off on Fallout's grave, and
I saw
yes.
I saw a meme earlier on, which was like, wow, can you imagine Bethesda taking up a loved game and changing it and making people unhappy? When's that ever happened before? Fallout 3 screenshot, Fallout 2 screenshot. Yes, it is different. It's changed now. We've got this multiplayer, but... I'm with it. I'll go with it. It's not going to be every episode, whatever you want to call it. Not every Fallout game is going to be like this. As long as this is a one-off experiment. And cool. Go with it.
There was no Dragon Ball stream, it was an accident.
There was none. Not even an accident, it was just YouTube being shit. I mean, you saw this stream was called Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls 6 fucking discussion stream. I go live and then it comes up as something else. It's like, fuck you, no. You're garbage, YouTube. Alright. Anyway, I'm going to try and not pay too much attention to the chat, because I actually want to have like a train of thought here, but... we'll be talking about 76 first.
Well...
We have more information on that, so we can... Yeah.
Well, 76, it's a multiplayer survival game that is very, very based off of Fallout 4, to the point where in, like, screenshots, it shows up as... Like, you know how I mentioned this to you yesterday, but like in screenshots of like them developing the game is so based off of Fallout 4, it still has Fallout 4's bloody year in the Pip-Boy.
I didn't really get what you meant by that, but is that not maybe just like earlier in development they hadn't gotten around to like, you know, changing the in-game date or something yet?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, it's basically...
Yeah, it's the same engine, that's all it is.
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
I just find that quite funny as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything else. And yeah, 90% of the chat is just here for Xenoverse stuff, because that's my audience! Can't do anything else I want to. Fuck you. Well, not you personally, that was the general fuck you to the world.
Yeah.
I can't wait until episode 27, or I don't know, I'm a big fan. I should you to all my friends. I don't know what that means.
This is nothing to do with Xenoverse.
It's gonna happen, just let it happen. I've already said, actually that might be edited out, but I'm already saying, no, don't ask about Xenoverse. Anyone who does gets banned. You don't really, but... I'm just saying.
It's like shagging a camel 5 years ago, and then reporters are still coming up to you 5 years later asking about the camel incident, because that's all they want to hear about.
Sounds like personal experience there. That was too specific, Sam. Strangely too specific.
You don't have to ask me about that.
I mean, I don't really know what else to say about Fallout 76, other than just re-reporting everything that's already out there.
Yeah, okay. I see. Well, I'm not telling you about the camel incident.
Don't talk about the incident in 77! I mean, yeah, oh shit, I revealed it. That's what it was all along. Will Elder Kai be in Fallout 76? I don't know, it depends if you get the game or not, Lily. Yeah, we can team up. We can make a little town. See, I do like that idea in 76, is the... Yeah, I like the idea of, like, settlement... Sorry, I don't want to say settlement building, because that kind of just gives me a shiver down my spine. Camp construction and, yeah, base building, and you kind of... I hope you can build more than one, actually.
What I really liked about it, what really stood out to me, was that it's the choice is pretty big, because you can literally make a bed on the floor and an artillery cannon if you wanted, or you can build a big fuck off like mansion. Or
is it that much different from Fallout 4's? I don't know. I hope they've at least improved a little bit on the Fallout 4 like actual placement system. Elder Scrolls 6 is just Skyrim 2. I hope you're a troll. Well, I think I was going to kind of speak about the elephant in the room, and that's multiplayer and the PvP aspect in a Fallout game. Because what really kind of took me aback, although it makes perfect sense from a setting point of view, is... Yeah, you do need to be on... Fallout 76 is an online-only game. You'll need internet to get on it, as far as I'm aware.
Well, it's not actually... you can do single-player as well, from what
But is that online single-player? Or, like, LAN single-player?
I think it's actually going to be offline single-player.
I'm sure they must make an offline mode, actually.
Yeah, because he mentioned that... the game, to be honest, was most... he said... Like, the guy who I watched mentioned how, like, while everyone else was trying out the multiplayer aspect, he's been trying out how it is purely as, like, a single-player experience, because that is an option.
Right.
No, Matt.
I feel like they're maybe still working on it, because they even originally said they're not doing private servers, but then have since said, okay, there will be private servers eventually. That sounds like something... The feedback they've kind of had a change of heart on. Question here from Mechadud, actually, which we could do with answering. Is there a Fallout game you would recommend starting with? I think that entirely depends on how forgiving you are of, like, going back to older games. Like, how good are you with sort of adapting to clunkier gameplay or whatever? Because I would say 3's probably a good one to start on. But speaking from experience with, like, Mary in the chat here, convinced them to go to 3 and found that too hard to get into. The gunplay is very stiff and difficult, but the game itself's good, and of course New Vegas is my favourite, I'm just saying, but it makes sense to play probably 3 first out of those two. If you want to play the whole series, you got to go back to Fallout 1, but again, that's another step in the archaic gameplay. You really got to, like, be able to get into that kind of gameplay.
In a game like Fallout 1, you will really enjoy it, but you've got to just get past the first hour or two, really. Yeah.
In fact, you could probably play New Vegas before 3, because there's not really any story connection between the two, and it's slightly better. Would you say it's slightly better gunplay? Slightly improved,
slightly, yeah.
And of course the game itself is better. I think the world is better designed. There's actually, like, more difficult and less difficult areas versus Fallout 3's just across the board. Everything scales with you in level, you know, and you got factions and more towns and shit.
It was developed more like a Bethesda game,
yeah.
Where it's like everything's always got either the same or a slight edge over you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose New Vegas. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what one's the right option to play first. It entirely depends on yourself. You might find 4 is the best one to play first because it's the most modern. The gunplay plays like any other FPS. That sort of thing.
One thing Fallout 4 did good is combat, you know.
The one thing it did? No.
Yeah, the one thing. Which, I don't know, I feel like... I think the reason why I think 76 is going to be better is because while Fallout 4 was almost being a bit of a pretender to like an old format that Bethesda's done before, 76 is just going all in and being its own thing, and I can sort of respect that more than just trying to be a cheap imitation roleplay game.
Did you watch the no-clip documentary on it? Like the behind-the-scenes thing? What I found interesting there was a guy dropped, I can't remember exactly what number, but he said there's like, so far there's 47 types of enemies or something. All the ones that have been in before, as well as all our new ones. And we've already seen there's a lot of new mutants, to the point where I was actually beginning to get a little bit worried, like,
the frogs.
What the fuck's all... Not just the frogs. I don't like video game frogs. They annoy me. But like to the point where it was almost all new mutant creatures, and like, where the fuck's all the classic ones? It took me a while. It took me like both gameplay trailer, well, both trailers and like most of this documentary before you finally saw a fucking Deathclaw briefly, and it's like, oh good, we got something familiar at least.
There was one section where it had ghouls in it. Like that's the one bit that sort of gave me a bit of comfort knowing ghouls were still in the game.
Yeah, 4 times the size of Fallout 4. As long as it still has the content to fill that. And there comes to the problem I was getting at earlier with there's no NPCs. Ubisoft. There's no NPCs. Which kind of makes, if you do want to play it alone because you can't be arsed dealing with other people, I totally understand that. That's why I typically play single player games. You're going to find it a lonely experience. It's going to be like playing, I don't know, it'd be like, I maybe boot up Gary's Mod once in a while and just go on a map and fill it full of NPCs and just go around and kill things. Sure, it's fun for a while, but like, there's no one there. There's no people to interact with. There's no towns to trade with.
I mean, there is going to be a quest line from what they...
There is, but it's given to you entirely through a holotape, which seems a bit... Well, actually, I don't know for that for sure, but that's what I gathered, is that you get the quests handed to you. Like, there's not a person there or people there for you to go and pick the quests up from. Which sounds a little bit like tactics to me, if you know what I mean. I don't know why.
Just that sort of shit slinged at you and said, "Oh,
yeah, like, here's your mission." And it's like, alright, I didn't ask for this. I don't know. I know, I'm positive about it, but I just have a few misgivings. Like, I'm curious more than worried about how some of these things are going to work. I was reading some of these comments. My brother and cousin have always been major fans. I was never really super interested in it until recently. I was at good friends of mine's house and got to watch him play New Vegas. And yeah, if you saw what he was playing in New Vegas and it interests you, then definitely give that or 3 a go. The chronology of the Fallout games has so far been perfectly logical. It's been 1, 2, 3, New Vegas, 4. Release order has been like the order of events in the game. This is the first one to go prequel and go right back to pre-Fallout 1. Hence why there's no NPCs in it.
It's literally like, it's a very fresh wasteland, which is a weird sentence. Fresh wasteland.
Ah, that fresh wasteland. That way too green fresh wasteland. Like, I don't know, does it make more sense for the world to be greener or less green that close after the bombs?
For some reason.
Stone. Like, yeah. I know we're not going for realism or anything. We don't necessarily need to know the actual, I don't know, the real world effects of a thermonuclear war on the environment, but I don't know, just the whole world looked really, really bright and green. But then if it's a 4 times the size map and it's multiplayer and shit, I suppose it kind of makes sense to have regions. Like, you have the one really nice kind of green region, and then you've got the glow, or the glowing sea, if you want to use the Fallout 4 term. Maybe. Actually, I think they made mention of there being like a skiing resort or something, which sounds fun.
People may have told you Fallout 4 is the worst in the series, but there is actually at least 2 games worse than it. There is both tactics games.
Yeah, Fallout Tactics, which I have, and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, which I don't have. I think it was a console game only, which immediately should warn you. Like, we're talking PS2 era console Fallout. Oh dear. Mac Rock thinks it's probably like Zion with the whole winds blown out radiation in the green area. I mean, it might just be a case of, because it's like, I don't really know anything about the geography of West Virginia other than what the song says, but if it is like hills and it's not necessarily an area where it's going to get directly hit with the nukes, then I guess it would be okay. But my understanding was that pretty much the whole world, apart from like pockets, was pretty much now just desert, was just burnt, crisp wasteland. Whereas, yeah,
begs the question: how big is West Virginia?
I don't know. Although they did say they tried to have the whole state, rather than just like a town, a city and surrounding area. I mean, obviously it's not going to be to scale, like always. It's going to be a compressed version of their world, but still, that's a first for 3D Fallout. It makes me think, like, California next, maybe? Go back west, get the Boneyard, get San Francisco again. Classic Fallout locations. I would love to see them in the next Fallout game, to be honest.
You probably need a car, though, because, you know, with the whole fast travel map, you could get across that sort of area really quickly. But,
yeah, but I mean, it's the same story with this.
It would feel like years.
It's the same story with this West Virginia map, though. I mean, I don't know exactly, but I mean, West Virginia is a comparable size to California, or at least Southern California, if you want to just do, like, the Fallout 2 area. Or is Fallout 2 Northern? Sorry, Fallout 2 is Northern, Fallout 1 is Southern. Whatever. You know, you could just do half the state and kind of get as much in it as you can.
Yeah, okay, that sort of works. Big map, huge.
Fallout 76 is 25 years after the bombs dropped? I don't know, close enough,
Yeah,
something like that.
25 years.
20-something years.
The same year that the Master was dipped into the vats and became Tentacle Man.
Tentacle Man, go watch the Fallout 1 playthrough. I'm just reading some. Well, somebody's asking what Fallout Tactics ? It's it was the third Fallout game to come out. Ironically, not Fallout 3. And it was like the original two Fallout games. It was isometric, turn-based. Yeah, I think it was.
Turn-based.
It wasn't exactly the same as the original two, but it was still like turn-based, like squad tactical type thing. But it wasn't really an RPG. It was like a mission-based tactical thing. If you've played like XCOM, it was like a shittier version of that in the wasteland, I guess. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. And then somebody asks, never heard of it. Is it like XCOM? I literally just said that. Delay. Yeah. Wow, I thought it was DLC. Nope, it was an actual game, and it didn't do well, which is why no one's ever heard of it. Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts yourself on 76? I mean, for the record, Sam was the one who really wanted to talk about 76 more than I did. I'm kind of tired of it at the moment.
That's fine.
So I'm just bouncing off of you more than anything.
I mean, one thing I mainly noticed from watching it as well, well, I know I mentioned this to you yesterday, so it's probably like rehashing old shit, but I like how in the trailers they were really sort of trying to sway people away from wanting to do PvP. Like, they didn't make it out like it was a good thing at any time, or that it would be helpful to anyone.
I like that, actually, because they've done that in a lot of games. Like, I think it was The Division, when it was first announced. It was this whole, like, oh, team up with your friends and complete missions, and after the mission's done, you can kill each other for the loot. And it's like, well, that's just going to make me constantly paranoid about these assholes, and I don't find that fun. I find that annoying. Whereas in this, they don't really do that whole, oh, you could betray each other thing. Wouldn't that be fun? Actually, I just saw the Ubisoft conference, and they had some pirate game. I forget what it's fucking called. Some not Sea of Thieves pirate game, and it was the same idea of, oh, you can team up with people, but then you can also betray them and take their loot at the end of missions. And it's like, I don't like that. No Man's Sea. Yeah, but you're right. In this, it's like, yeah, you could be a dick, but you're not gonna have any friends, and you're gonna have a wanted, level on you.
and the more you kill, the more money you get for killing them, or however it works.
Which also kind of fits into the whole Bethesda, system. Fallout and Elder Scrolls of having just a bounty on you. Except now it's actual people. Yeah, Skull and Bones, that's the one I was thinking of. The game. They're not going to have to reuse voice actors from the other games, because there's going to be no fucking voice actors.
Well, there's going to be voice actors for like the frogs, isn't there?
Stone. Frog man will be heard. Very inside joke. Literally just you and me get that.
I think.
Shut up, Clint. I used to be an adventurer like you, then I became a dead meme. Yes. I never even liked that meme, to be honest.
That would be a really good leeway into Elder Scrolls 6, wouldn't it?
It would. I'm just saying, I never liked that meme. Of all like the Elder Scrolls memes, and like all the Skyrim sort of stupid comments and shit, like generic guard dialogue, I always hated that one. Overused.
It's kind of like, I don't know, with a lot of bands, it's kind of like the shit song of the album.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, you're right. So, Elder Scrolls. Literally, what do we know about it so far? It exists.
It exists and they
It
can't
exists.
talk about it.
It's not going to come out for a long time yet. We're going to have at least one more big Fallout Elder Scrolls sized RPG before then. Whose name I've suddenly forgotten, but I was looking forward to it. It sounded cool. The space one, the star,
Is it
whatever.
Starlight?
Is that what it's called? I don't think so.
Okay, I'll check.
Go check. Anyway, yeah, but we're gonna have at least one more game between 76 and that and the Elder Scrolls. Starfield. There we go. So it's gonna be a while off, and we know it takes place on a land which has clouds, and there's at least some shrubbery. Yeah, I don't know. We literally know like nothing about Elder Scrolls 6, but that's why it's fun to talk about, because it's entirely speculation.
And just, when you can speculate, I guess can somehow find what to talk about.
Now, I'm totally coming at this from a biased perspective. I know that, because even before this got announced, I was calling for this, and I wanted to actually do this live stream as we're doing now, purely talking about what we want from the next Elder Scrolls game before this trailer even got shown. And even then, I was saying Akavir is where I want it to go. And I've talked this a lot about with you, Sam, because I want this so much. I have.
Since probably 2015.
All right. And for those who don't know, before we talk any more about it, Akavir is in the Elder Scrolls world. It's a land, but unlike every other game that has ever existed in the series, it is a different continent, because every other game has taken place on, or either in one of the countries, one of the provinces on Tamriel, or has been the whole Tamriel continent. That's where all the Elder Scrolls games take place. Akavir is somewhere out east of that. It's another continent entirely. So we've never seen it before, we barely know anything about it, but we know it exists. Alright? And that's where I think this is taking place. And this trailer has done nothing to convince me otherwise, because kind of going through it. I don't think it's it's not going to be Skyrim. Pretty sure that's not Morrowind, unless Morrowind's gone through a redesign, because it doesn't look anything like it. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be Cyrodiil or Hammerfell, because it doesn't look developed enough for that. If you know what I mean, like you expect more sort of castles and towns and cities, as well as probably a bit more, I don't know, green. I don't think it's going to be Somerset Isles, because that's kind of a fairly small island, and this looks like a pretty massive coastline you see there.
Yeah.
Don't think, I mean, I don't think it's Valenwood or Black Marsh, because Black Marsh is a marsh, Valenwood is a forest. This looks like Savannah. The only place in Tamriel it could be, in my mind, is Elsewhere, and I would kill myself. I would kill myself before I played that. I don't want to play in the furry country. Fucking Khajiit. Burn them all. Steal their skooma. What were you saying?
Is Hammerfell an option? Do you think? Like
Did I not say Hammerfell? So I meant to
Didn't
put
know
Hammerfell
where
and Cyrodiil together as one was what I was trying to say. Oh no, no, you're right, I didn't say Hammerfell. Okay, it could be. Again, I don't know, I think Hammerfell's a bit more deserty, so it could be. Maybe. Because, again, with Skyrim back in the old days was supposed to be just the snowy country, but when you actually got a Skyrim game, we found out it had snow, it had sort of marshes, it had tundra, blah 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 blah. So it could be Hammerfell. I suppose. I suppose that's the most likely place on Tamriel it could be. But I don't want that. I want Akavir. So bad. So I just feel like at this point people just expect you to be going, alright, which country is it going to be next? Which one haven't we done yet? Okay, let's go, Hammerfell now. Alright, next game, Valenwood. Alright, next game, Somerset Isles. Alright, you're just going to cycle around the countries, you know what I mean? I feel like screw that and just go somewhere else. Now, there are other continents, actually, besides Tamriel and Akavir. I can't remember them offhand, but we know less about them. And one of them, actually, is Atmora. I'm surprised I remembered that, actually. My Elder Scrolls lore is not too bad. But again, that would be too much like Skyrim. That actually would be like Skyrim too, because that's the Nord homeland before Skyrim was their homeland. And that would be entirely just snow, huh?
Does Atmora still actually... Would that be like a prequel, though? Or does Atmora still exist in the lore?
Not sure. Actually, I think Atmora might not exist anymore. Possibly? I know there was there's another continent where the elves supposedly came from, and I know that supposedly doesn't exist anymore. Can't remember about Atmora. But either way, that's like to the north, even further north of Skyrim, so yeah, I'd rather not do that. But yeah. Was Mac Rock says, if it was Akavir, would we get the typical races? Yes. And here we go with my my ideas, which I've been building for a while on this. I think multiple reasons why I think Akavir would be a good setting. So we take this place maybe minimum a few years, 3-5 years after Skyrim, maximum couple decades after Skyrim. The war with the Thalmor, which never got fucking resolved in Skyrim, that Cold War scenario that was going on between the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion, that could be having either restarted recently, or like that war is now ongoing, or it's at the point of it's going to ignite any minute now and everyone knows. So that could be a factor involved. So I think what we find ourselves in the start of Elder Scrolls 6 is it's like a colony kind of situation. Imperial colony has been sent out east to, basically find new places to settle, blah, 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 typical exploration shit. But they've got, like, sub-reasons behind this of, like, Thalmor are probably going to do this, we need to beat them to it. We also need another place to stay in case we probably get our asses kicked by the Thalmor and lose, like, the entire Empire back in on Cyrodiil. Kind of, hate to say it, Mass Effect Andromeda style of let's go find a new galaxy thing. I hate that.
We can't be asked anything else of Earth, so we'll just go.
Yeah, it's just,
bad faces.
Maybe a little bit of that. I also feel my idea being, how every Elder Scrolls game begins with you being a prisoner? Yeah. I like the idea of this is sort of like Australia with the British Empire. This is like at least one of the components of the Imperial colonization of like probably just the coastline of Akavir. They really don't have much of a foothold there. It's like a prison colony. So that's why you go there. Ostensibly why you go there. I think there might also be other reasons. Because...
were you thinking of the whole idea you had of the main character being like...
Yes.
Still up the
Yes. So, I think... Another reason why I thought Akavir was dragons were such a big inclusion and a big important part of Skyrim that for them to then be taken out of the game again kind of feels like a downgrade. Same with shouts. Shouts were a good addition to the combat system. You had, your actual physical combat, you had your magic, and then shouts were like a third tier. And if you were to lose them again, it feels like a downgrade. So I think you need to either be the Dragonborn again, Not sure how I feel about that. Or some kind of direct relative to Dragonborn. Or maybe just another Dragonborn. Either way. So that you have access to that shit. Or, at the very least, you need to go somewhere where it's going to be feasible and possible for you to learn how to shout. And it being Akavir, which is the homeland of the dragons, that's where they came from, or at least where they had a very, very, very big presence historically. Seems like a good place for you to do that.
There's a chance it could be like, I don't know, you know how like, not to want to make a Dragon Ball reference, but you know like how initially it started out with there only being a select few people who could go Super Saiyan. What if it turns out in Akavir every cunt knows how to shout?
I imagine there being quite a few people who can do it there, and possibly that could be like a training type situation, you know, trainers. Either way, I don't really want shouts to be diluted to the point of being really unimportant, Super Saiyan style. That would kind of suck. I don't want shouts again and make it feel like Skyrim 2. Well, I don't feel... I think they should still be included, but not like an important part of the story, if you know what I mean, Mac. I don't want it to be like, oh, you are the hero because you can use the dragony shout things. Yeah, I just feel like it should be an option available to you, and it being done so in a way that makes sense. But anyway, more reasons why Akavir. So in actual lore, the Nerevarine, who is the name of the protagonist from Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, we know in lore that after the events of Morrowind, he fucked off, or he or she or they fucked off on an adventure to an expedition to Akavir. The first time in however many centuries no one had actually tried to go there. And we never found out what happened to him. Expedition went there, never came back. So I feel like there would be a good way of tying in to the events of Morrowind there. And I kind of feel at the same time that the Dragonborn needs to have a good sort of some kind of good end to their character. I like the idea of them also travelling out that way on an adventure, because knowing my character in Skyrim, they would always be looking for another adventure. After they've done all the DLC and all the missions and all the fucking side quests and become the leader of all the goddamn guilds in Skyrim, they're going to want to go do something else with their life. They're not going to settle down with Isolde and raise their two little bratty kids who never age. You know what I mean? So I like the idea of the Dragonborn also following in the Nerevarines' footsteps to go explore this, you know, great unknown continent. Also, find more dragon powers. That's kind of what the Dragonborn does.
I do like the idea because it's allowing for like multiple narratives and like storylines, I guess. Because you know, you don't just have to have the whole follow the Nerevarine. That doesn't even have to be the main thing.
No, totally not. I think that could be an interesting discovery you make there. Maybe like a side quest line. I like the idea of maybe you finding an old settlement from like it would be about 200 years previously. That was when Morrowind was before this point. So like a 200-year-old now pretty much deserted settlement set up by the Nerevarine and his few followers, and you know you maybe find out what happened to them. I think that'd be quite cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was a really long-winded answer for do we play as the Imperial races? Yeah, totally. I don't think you should be able to play as any Akavir races, though. You asking about new races. Not in this game. This would set up for future games where you could. Now that we have like created this connection between the two continents. But in this game, no. I think that's fair.
Actually, Professor, if it was, they'd still allow for it, therefore breaking all law.
Yeah, because we can have super mutants in Fallout 76, even though it doesn't make sense. We'll just call them regular mutants.
They're not literally called regular mutants. Just called
No, I think they're just called mutants, and that's annoying.
But what kind of mutants are they? Are they big and airy? Are they?
They just look the same as super mutants, except they've turned the scaling down to about 60%. God damn it, Bethesda. God fucking damn it. Also, why is there Enclave armor in Fallout 76?
Oh, it's not Enclave armor, it's, it just looks the same. The Enclave based their armor on this armor. Shut up.
Stop retconning goddamn older games, you assholes. Anyway, what are we talking about? I like it if you're not a destined hero prophesied to save the world and you're just some guy. I quite like that idea too. Now at this point we're not speculating, this is now me just talking out my ass, but the kind of storyline that I thought was that you are on a prison ship and you're sent to Akavir, but you're actually a member of not the Blades, but the not Blades from Skyrim, the Pentalus Oculata or whatever they are. Basically like the Secret Service to the Emperor. And you've actually been sent on a mission to try and find and bring in the Dragonborn, basically. Things have gotten that bad with the war against the Thalmor that they want, basically, the strongest known warrior in existence to come on their side. Even if, and this doesn't even take into account whether or not he was a Stormcloak. If you went on the Imperial side or the Stormcloak side in the Civil War storyline, or you did neither, who knows. I still think at the end of the day, they're going to be anti-Thalmor, because that's the one option that Skyrim never gave you, was to side with those assholes. Fucking elf Nazis.
It wouldn't really make sense, because I think it'd be a bit hard to program siding with the Thalmor as well, because they don't really team up with many races.
No. Oh, they totally team up with the Bosmer and the Khajiit, and by team up we mean enslave, but whatever. Yeah, the Thalmor are fucking assholes, and I would still, even in this game, not have you side with them whatsoever. They'd be like siding with fucking Mehrunes Dagon in Oblivion. Yeah, let's side with the demons invading the world. Why not? But yeah, like that could be your reason for going there, which is quite similar to Morrowind. In a way that I like, personally. Like, you were sent to Morrowind, and then you were basically enrolled into the Blades. Like, yeah, that's why we brought you here. We think you might be useful. Sort of thing. But then in the process, you maybe find out that actually you... Maybe? I don't know. Are you going to be some prophesized guy who can actually do some good? Or are you just going to be the right guy there at the right time, and you manage to do some good? I don't know. It could go either way. Maybe you leave that up for interpretation. I mean, the Elder Scrolls has always been about prophecy and, the guy. The one who just happens to be in the right place at the right time and is the one who was always going to be the one to be able to save the world from whatever fucking problem. And I like that. What else? I'm just going through like my head notes of things. Anyway, of course you're going to have the new races though. Bad idea, Dragonborn turns into a dragon. Yeah, we're not doing that. That was fucking Oblivion. Fucking Sean Bean turns into a dragon at the end. Spoilers. You would never be able to meet the Dragonborn because Bethesda doesn't want to give... No, you're right. You're totally right, Mac. I would not have you actually be able to find the Dragonborn. I would either have the Dragonborn turn out to be dead, turn out to be having moved on, or he's just always out of reach. And maybe the only time you see the Dragonborn is when he comes riding a fucking flock of dragons into battle and they kick the ass out of whatever you're fighting at the end, and then disappears. And you're like, well, that was a Dragonborn riding that dragon over there. Didn't get to see a good look of him, or her, or they. The fucking weird modded monstrosity that some PC user maybe use. Leave it nice and non-canon.
One that annoys Mac though, because I get that it's like, because I think there is actually like a really simple like, okay, they've been doing all this shit where they port Skyrim to like everything, and even they're aware of it, all that blah blah blah. Surely you could have a feature where, I don't know, it's probably a bit divisive because it's basically Fallout 4's ugly bastard system, but have it so male voice, female voice, and have it so you can import what your Dragonborn looks like. Because surely by that way everyone wins, because it satisfies the people who want what their Dragonborn looks like, and satisfies the people who are just really wanting to see what or interact with their Dragonborn.
DBC Legends is asking who is Dragonborn. I'm not sure if he's actually asking what a Dragonborn is, or if he's just being weird. I don't know. No, but I know what you mean. I think that would be possible, but I don't know if that's actually possible. I don't know if they... I'm not sure how that works from like a scripting game design perspective. I don't even know how to describe it. Would they have not need to have thought of that ahead of time? When they made Skyrim, they would have to like know that this character is going to be ported over. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the Mass Effect games, they knew from the first game that this character was going to be ported over, and decisions would be kept on track with your save file, which is why at the end of the game it says, hey, don't delete your save for the next game. I'm not sure they could do it with Skyrim. I don't even know if I'd want them to. I kind of feel leaving it kind of open, you know, like a little bit to the imagination, which is a problem I had with Fallout 4. You know, things weren't left enough to the player's imagination. You were told, hey, you are an ex-soldier, you fought in Alaska, this is your name, this is your voice, live with it. You know what I mean?
I think that's quite a good question, actually.
Should this theoretical Elder Scrolls game feature building? Yes, actually. Yeah, that was something I think I thought of before. Is that there's going to be towns. There is going to be these little, like, thrown up, you know, colony towns, you know what I mean? But you probably will have options to maybe expand further in. A little bit, at least.
Just please improve the settlement.
Yeah.
Not settlement, the base building.
I don't really know. I don't know if I want it to be your job. You've just shown up. Hey, hi. Now you can do our job of colonizing. Build all these towns for us. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe I think, like, there we go. Skyrim, the house building DLC in that Hearthfire. Maybe you earn a plot of land or something. And maybe you can earn several plots of land in the course of the game. And you get to build, like, a manor, basically, there. You know what I mean? And it could be quite open. It could be like the Fallout 4 style building a manor, where you settlement building, where you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want in this space with these assets. But the idea is, like, here's your land. Go wild. So I'm just reading comments. Dragonborn is a clan, or whatever they call it. No, Dragonborn is... It's a title for an individual in the Elder Scrolls universe, where the description is they're born with the soul of a dragon, but you can take that literally or not. Basically, they just... we don't really know. That's this is the problem with so much Elder Scrolls lore, is that it's left... Yeah, it's left kind of vague, and rightly so, and I prefer it that way. But basically what the Dragonborn can do is they are the only person who can permanently and physically kill a dragon. Sorry, not physically. Anyone can physically kill a dragon, but that dragon will always resurrect and come back. Whereas a Dragonborn will consume its soul, and its power in doing so, and permanently kill a dragon. And also because of this, Dragonborn can, like, understand dragon language, and thus use their abilities. Because dragons don't just breathe fire, like, bleh. It's actually, the Thum is the shouts type of magic we were talking about earlier. It's, speaking in dragon language does all these different abilities, and it can be like shooting fire, just shooting force in general, slowing down time, speeding yourself up, all different types of abilities, which you all got in Skyrim, and which is why I kind of don't want them to drop them in this new game.
I'm still just thinking of that fire breathing noise you made.
What?
I still can't get out of my head the fucking fire breathing noise just made.
Fighting the Dragonborn could be bad for some. It could ruin the role playing. Yeah, I understand. Maybe there's an appeal to, hey, what if you fought the Dragonborn? He turned evil or something. I'm like, yeah, but again, that sort of that dictates to players of Skyrim to say, hey, this is what will end up to your character. They will end up a bad person, and the new character in the next game has to kill them. Well, besides, we already got to fight a Dragonborn in the Dragonborn DLC. I am so sick of using that word, by the way. I'm refusing to say it anymore. We need a new word, shorthand for the person born with flying lizard powers.
Blood boy.
Blood boy. Did my brother tell you have a new mic? Yes, he did. And thank you for getting one. We're going to get back to Xenoverse eventually, alright? We're just need a little bit of fucking time. Thank you all for the patience. I do actually feel bad, especially for the people I asked to voice act. I want to say that now, because I feel like I've totally been just leaving you hanging at the moment. I apologise. We will get back to it as soon as I can. And that's Blood Boy with an I, Lily. Come on, get with it. Dragonborn is a Dragonborn of all Dragonborn. Thank you for making me say that word 3 times.
Blood Boy.
We have a new forbidden word. God damn it. Alright, what else? I'm gonna feel really bad if it turns out this is just set in fucking Morrowind or something. Because all this speculation I've gotten here of things we can do. Not talked about what's actually... In fact, one thing I'm not even going to attempt to speculate on is like what the story is. No idea. I'm just speculating on like setting and what you could do with the setting. I don't know what like the main threat's going to be or anything like that. I would say though, the interesting new races and, you know, sapient and non-sapient races on Akavir is another thing which really draws me to that place. Because it's very up in the air whether or not there are humans who live on that continent. I think there are. If you read like the in-game books in Skyrim and that, it talks about like all these different weird races, like was it snake people and ape people and things like that. And I don't know if that's meant to be taken literally or not. Again, Elder Scrolls lore, leaving you scratching your head because it's never specific. So I'm not sure. Maybe a bit of both. Maybe there are actual, literal snake people, snake monster things, but there might also be just a clan of humans who, like, have snake banners or something. You know what I mean? They're just a kingdom. Same with, like, the ape people and the tiger people, I think, was another one. So I think you could have these different races. Different, like, humanoid people who... There's a thought. Language barriers. There's something that's never been in an Elder Scrolls game. Unless you count the dragons.
Well, I think there's one race we do need that hasn't been mentioned so far.
What?
The literal talking saber-toothed tigers from the Elsewhere mod.
Again, I really, really hope that I'm not mistaken. This isn't actually just Elsewhere. The fucking Khajiit homeland. I swear to God, that's not the Elder Scrolls game I want. Imagine Todd Howard watching this taking notes. I hope he is. He should hire me. I would make good games if I had the goddamn time and money and effort and shit.
No, giant frogs are worse than spiders any day.
No, we don't Elsewhere. Get out of here.
I mean, it gets that furry money, doesn't it?
Ugh.
That dirty sector of people. I mean...
Alright, I'm not going to shit on the furries. I'm just saying I don't like Khajiit. That's all I'm saying.
You're only saying that to cover you because you might make some money from them. I'm doing that thing where you like squish your hands together to like symbolise cash. I keep doing it. Hands.
We've got to have money. The fuck were we talking about? Anyway, I also do think that I don't think we're gonna. I don't know. I'm not sure if I want an Elder Scrolls game that really goes into the Thalmor Imperial War. I feel like this could possibly put a cap on it. I know it's not actually like in the middle of the conflict. That's kind of the point. I think there's totally going to be a Thalmor zone sort of colonization effort somewhere else in the continent, and maybe there's a bit of a like a. Damn, what game was that? Oh, New Vegas, that's where I'm getting this from. There could be a sort of, both the Imperial colonists and the Thalmor are buying to, like, win over the locals. You know what I mean? The local kingdoms to join their side. In, you know, the Thalmor want to team up with the, you know, the Snake Kingdom and the Ape Kingdom, whatever else, to go take and push out the Imperial colonies. You know what I mean? And so there could be this sort of diplomatic and possibly like branching storyline. Do you remember that in New Vegas? Yeah. Like, you needed to go win over the Great Khans. And then when you got there, you found there was a fucking Caesar's Legion guy there who was like, oh, too late, they're already on my side, bitch. And you're like, fuck you. And you shoot him in the head because you could do that in that game.
It's nice to have choice, isn't it?
It's nice to have choice, yeah.
I swear you could convince him to fuck off as well, I think.
Sorry, somebody just said, wait, where is Sam? And that's making me worry that you've cut out. No,
I think
never
it's a bit of delay, so I had my mic muted for a bit, and I think he just thought I completely fucked off.
Imagine an Elder Scrolls game where you can pick from every gender, all 76 of them. Well, what do you think Fallout 76 is going to be? Where do you think they're getting the name for that from?
Ow, Bojack.
Out, out, out. Do you like Argonians? Because they're my favourite. Because there's no rock race. Yes, I do like Argonians. I used to always actually play as Argonians. Way back in the... Well, I say way back in Morrowind days. Yeah, I know there's multiple Fallout Elder Scrolls games before Morrowind, but whatever. Yeah, I like Argonians. Don't play as them that much anymore, but I used to. What is this? What is this? It is bacon. Yes. I didn't know what Lily sent. I'm not sure if I have any more notes on my hypothetical Elder Scrolls Akavir game, other than new architecture, new fucking worlds, new and similar race species. Because it's not going to be all new creatures. I think you can still have like recognizable things like trolls and Netch. If anyone's played Morrowind, I see it being possible that Netch exists both on the east coast of Tamriel and the west coast of Akavir, you know what I mean? They are like semi-aquatic creatures after all. Drew as well, aquatic creatures. Mud crabs, of course, we can't have an Elder Scrolls game without mud crabs. But then also a whole bunch of new creatures, which I'm not going to sit here and make up off the top of my head, but...
I don't want to hear about new creatures unless it's giant frogs that scream.
Start with the giant frogs! I don't like giant frogs. Ever since that fucking Temple of Elemental Evil, where they just swallow you whole, and it's like, please don't. Please respect my personal space.
Giant frogs is appealing to my autism quite well, so I'm going to try and resist.
I've given you a new word to just say non-stop for the next 5 weeks. All frogs are alt-right. You are right. all frogs need to be destroyed.
Frogs are the new symbol of the alt-right.
Oh wait, they already were. I forgot that. God damn it. So now that I've given my idea, what do you want from Elder Scrolls 6, Sam? Sorry, I gotta... Yeah.
To be completely honest, I don't think I have anything near as much. I mainly just don't want it to take place in elsewhere. But that is the only real opinion.
You'll be happy, anything but that.
Just anything but elsewhere. I just don't want an optional race or people in the world that are literal talking on all fours saber-toothed tigers, because if that is actually part of the lore, that makes me really sad.
I'm going to quickly explain that one. So in Skyrim, there was a mod, a pretty high rated, it was like way up there as like the must-have mods on the Skyrim Nexus. That was an Elsewhere New Worlds mod thing. So it was like you would speak to some travelers in a tavern somewhere, and they would take you on an expedition from Skyrim to Elsewhere, the province where the Khajiit come from, which sounds really cool. Then you get there, and it's shit. And, specifically, there are the saber-toothed tigers, which are just an enemy in Skyrim, just a typical enemy in Skyrim. They modded them to be talking NPCs that you could talk to with terrible voice acting. And I'm just like, I'm not comfortable. And I'm going to just leave and go back to Whiterun and then drink away these memories, alright?
I mean, to be honest, I have what I do. Okay, if there's one demand I do want, it is talking walruses.
Oh, talking walruses, they're fine. The fucking Horkers? Yeah. Best character. Oh dear.
How long do they live for?
They are eternal. All the Lud mods, you're quite right. Most importantly, Elder Scrolls 6 needs full mod support on all platforms and only Lud mods.
Do you know what? You've reminded me of something, Stephen.
I'm quoting the fucking chat here. It wasn't my idea.
I know you are. But the thing is, this reminds me, the Oblivion Nexus has been soiled forever since about 2014. Because don't you remember when we went on there, we clicked on it, and the first thing we saw was just bosoms everywhere, laying down like across the banner, and it was like,
Chat
well,
turned
this
weird.
has got weird, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the internet. What do you want? Anyway.
Well, I bet the people who invest in Nexus were happy.
So, other than the people who are just talking shite in the chat, does anyone have any ideas of their own, or any additions to anything I've said?
Any old shite like that.
Well, we're going to be waiting a while, because that'll take quite a bit to type out.
Probably, sure. Plus delay. But, meanwhile, like I was saying, new things, new creatures, new architecture, new fucking armor and weapons. Oh, something else I want to talk about. So, I don't know what anyone thinks about Elder Scrolls Online. I think it's perfectly fine. I have quite a bit of fun with it. I don't think it's great. It's not really a proper Elder Scrolls game whatsoever. One thing I really like in that game is the crafting. Specifically the armors and the weapons, because whereas, like, take Morrowind, take Oblivion, take Skyrim, they have iron armor, they have steel armor, they have orcish armor, they have blah 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 blah. But it's a different design from game to game. Usually, like, the iron armor in Oblivion looks very imperial and very shiny and very clean. The iron armor in Skyrim looks very Nordic, just to put it bluntly. Whereas in Elder Scrolls Online, what you do is you take the same materials, the same iron or steel, whatever you want to make the armor from, and you can craft it to different styles, different racial styles. So you can make Nordic steel armor, or Orcish steel armor, or Argonian steel armor, and they all look different and unique. And I really love that, and it gives so much more flavor to the game. And especially with this not being set in any actual Tamrielic province, there's no particular known racial tone to the game. I think it makes sense to include that. And also, Akaviri styles, most importantly. Because samurai armor is cool. And we've already seen traces of that in the Blades equipment, because the Blades, if you know the lore, they originally came from Akavir. Again, more evidence why I do think there are humans there. So yeah, you get your katanas and all that good shit.
Samurai.
Yes! I've got fucking Skyrim mods that do that add katanas, daikatanas, and whatever the short blade katanas are called. It adds those to Skyrim, as in craftable weapons, just like anything else. But also steel, iron, orcish, and I assume you do get Daedric katanas as well, because that'd be fucking cool. I don't know what Tour King swords are. It was either typo or you're talking shit.
Don't know what that bloody means. I'm sure we'll know in a bit when he either corrects it or explains it.
Wait.
Thick
It says
sword.
twerking, doesn't it? No? I don't know. It almost looks like a typo. So has anybody else said anything? Somebody says wants a bigger map. Well, that's exactly what this Fallout 76 is going to kind of prove. Technologically wise, can they make big maps?
Big boy man.
And I don't, for the record, I haven't even talked about this, I don't expect it to be the entire continent of Akavir. I think it's smaller than Tamriel, but it's still bigger than any individual province. But I would expect it to be like a good chunk, you know? The whole coastline and like going inland a bit, you've got your sort of mountainous regions, your sort of maybe Nepalese style kind of Himalayas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeti monsters. And then you probably got like your tropical jungle in the middle, and then towards the south east, you'll have maybe like marshland and crap, and then a whole coastline up the coast. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I imagine the map maybe looking.
Coast. So I was thinking, I'm just resorting to Max Angle.
Suicide is badass, wants thick swords. I want a sword that shoots dolphins. I want a sword with auras based... Oh, actually, this one isn't stupid. I want a sword with auras based off the magic you have. Like, infused weapons? Like, yeah, like have like a steel sword and actually like shoot it with the lightning you have in your other hand, which gives your sword like maybe a one-shot lightning blast thing. I don't know.
if you do want fixed swords, though, you can always play Oblivion, where all the weapons look like they're made of that foam you get at the seaside.
Would you support an Elder Scrolls game that allows genocide against the Thalmor? You're going to have to explain what genocide against a political group means. If you're asking for genocide against the High Elves, absolutely not, because that would be game breaking. Genocide against the Thalmor, maybe, but also you got to remember Elder Scrolls hasn't been so about choice as like a Fallout game has been, because that's totally some of the fault that Fallout would allow, isn't it? You know, do you want to completely wipe out this entire faction or not? That's a very Fallout thing. That's not really something Elder Scrolls has ever done.
And they're all dead.
Yeah. So no. And if you did mean genocide against the High Elves, no, because one, that would mean you can't use High Elves again in any future Elder Scrolls game, which I'm sure would piss off a lot of people. And two, that's horrific, and three, that's also like lore-breakingly horrible, because the people or I would hope more than half people aren't going to be assholes. The 99% of people who don't commit genocide are going to be fine, but then I don't know where am I going with this? Yeah, next game, whether or not Bethesda would have to decide whether or not that happened, or you know what I mean. It's actually a problem we're going to have with Elder Scrolls 6 if they ever talk about the Civil War in Skyrim. Because that was like one of the rare examples of where there is an actual world-changing choice in the Elder Scrolls game. You know, did Skyrim become independent from the Empire or not? How are they going to reconcile that in another game? Assuming this is indeed set after Skyrim.
Or the Falmer completely taken over Skyrim.
When are they going to introduce a slave system into Elder Scrolls? Do you mean like you owning slaves, or do you just mean like slavery being a thing that exists? Because we had that in Morrowind, and it was horrible, and I killed all the slavers and freed all the slaves.
The option to be a slaver, because being a slaver is a bit too dick-headed.
Could you do that in like New Vegas or something?
You could do it in Fallout 3.
Oh, that's right, yeah. It would be cool if you could hunt animals into extinction, like the cliff raisers.
Just do it to guns.
Legitimately the most annoying enemy in the Elder Scrolls ever, and they actually did, like, canonically make them extinct in future games. What was it called? What was the guy called? Is it Jub? Jub? Saint Jub.
yeah, he's the fella you meet first off in the prison ship in the beginning of Morrowind.
Yeah.
Once the events of Morrowind are done, he actually goes on to just wipe out all the cliff raisers.
And he becomes a saint, and you can actually meet him in the Dawnguard DLC in Skyrim. You meet his spirit, and he tells you about his life and how he became a saint by ridding the world of the bastard cliff racers. You're a horrible person. Who's a horrible person? Maybe the person who was talking about slavery. I'm not sure. I lost track of the conversation.
In all honesty, I would simply enjoy more characters like the Ebony Knight, as in more wandering characters for one-on-one duels.
Yeah. I mean, that's always something I want more in these games.
Unique
it's
characters
like
are
unique.
always cool.
Yeah, unique. I'm not when we say random, that makes me think procedurally generated.
No,
It's not what I want.
No.
It's not what I want. Not what I want. Not what I want. We want it more like Fallout 3, where they actually make like several dozen unique encounters, but they don't place them anywhere specifically on the map. Around the map, they place like random encounter location beacons, or whatever you want to call them, so that if the player enters that area, there's a random chance, firstly, that they'll have a random encounter there, and then which random encounter, because there's like dozens and dozens the game could pick from at random. So
I think that's one thing.
That's why,
it really
yeah. If you walk towards the Anchorage Memorial, for example, there is maybe a 50% chance you'll encounter something random, and then that random thing could be anything from a couple traders fighting a Deathclaw, and if you save them, they're like, "Whoo, thanks for that," and they give you a unique item, like I think it's the like Deathclaw Gauntlet or something.
Yeah.
Or it could be any number of the other things, like that.
It could be like a 2% chance that an alien ship blows above it, and you get that unique gun.
That is also a thing. I don't know if that's one of the random encounters. I think they might be something on their own in Fallout 3. But yeah, those were another thing that just sort of happens when you wander around the wasteland. More of those would be good. Actual, like, unique characters who you can speak to. And there was a few of them in Skyrim as well, like the old orc who you meet, who's like, when you come across him, he's surrounded by like dead bears and saber cats and shit, and he's like, yeah, I'm sitting here waiting for something to kill me, but nothing's actually managed to yet. He's just like waiting for a honourable death, and then you can like challenge him to a duel to try and kill him. I wish they would make frostbite spiders go extinct. I know a lot of people don't like spiders in the chat. I can see that.
I mean, frogs are worse because they scream, but...
That's what I meant. If you don't like a race, you can kill so many of the... so they just die out. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I want to own a damn slave to grow my moon sugar. You're a terrible person. Can't they just add human NPCs? Yeah.
I think he's
unless you're talking about 76, maybe.
But that's really delayed. If we're going back to 76.
I think the game will be set in one province, then they will expand over time and try to add more of Tamriel. You think? I mean, that's pretty much what they were trying to do with Elder Scrolls Online. And even there, they never actually, you know, got around to it. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think they could be doing that, but I don't think they are. I'm trying to think of any reason to say why it definitely wouldn't be that. Not sure. I just think like the trailer we did get showing that specific landscape, I just think it has to be something that after the game has come out, we look back and it's like, alright, yeah, that is totally that. If it's like full Tamriel world game, random grassland mountains doesn't really do that. I don't know, I'm not sure. That's just me. Again, I'm coming at this very biased. I totally want Akavir.
What's the likelihood that they're going to do Akavir, though, really?
Pretty high. I'm sure there was, like, talk of rumours going around that they were doing something outside Tamriel, and the options there are, you know, Atmora, Akavir, possibly another one that I'm not so familiar with, which might not even exist anymore in lore. Thoughts on the Beyond Skyrim mod? Now, which... is that one where they're trying to recreate all the other provinces? Yeah, actually, I think it is, because I know I've seen at least a part of Cyrodiil in that mod. Yeah, I mean, so many people have tried to make those, you know, let's remake Fallout 1 in the Fallout 3 engine. That takes 18 years. Okay, shit. Let's try and remake Fallout 3 in the Fallout 4 engine. That takes, like, another years and years and years and gets nowhere. Let's try making Morrowind in Skyrim, or sorry, Morrowind in Oblivion, then Oblivion in Skyrim. And yeah, it just kind of... people are always trying those mods. This one, from what I hear, is actually making traction, and they do have quite a good sort of organisation of their team that are working on this mod. Like, they have several people working on each province, independently of each other, you know what I mean? Which is a much better way to do it than one guy. You know, knowing from experience as one guy trying to mod. It's a nightmare.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realise is that to undertake something like, you know, let's put this game in this game. Well, it's something like with Tale of Two Wastelands, they had it easy because Fallout 3 and New Vegas were pretty much the same game, like engine-wise. So
yeah,
they could just literally put it in the same game. But with what they're trying to do, it would almost take like a full-sized game dev team, really, because trying to do something like that on your own will kill you. Like, I don't see why they even bother trying to do it in the first place.
I'm not sure what takes more time, making the world or trying to like make all the quests in the world. Because it might be a case of it's quite sparse on actual content, but it's more just they're making the actual like landscapes themselves. Again, just catching up with the comments. No, fuck, I was going to say something, I can't remember now. Oh yeah, climbing back and we'll be off. That was off.
That was a weird thing to forget to say.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a comment from Binbag, and he made me say it. Climbing back and we'll be off. Climbing back and fuck me off.
Also wants me to say hi to you, apparently, from
Cool.
Discord.
Q. No, but suicide is badass. The guy's been talking about being a slaver this whole time. Like, legitimately, you are a terrible person, but at the same time, I'm totally in favour of the player having the choice of being a total piece of shit and being a slaver or whatever. I'm totally in favour of that. Like, I fucking despise Caesar's Legion in New Vegas, but I love that they're an option you can play as. It makes killing them even more satisfying, you know what I mean? Beyond Skyrim has released one for Bruma, that's the one I saw, and I think they're close to releasing one for Iliac Bay. So they're not really doing full provinces just now, they're just kind of doing towns at a time, I guess. Mac, is it still going to be open world? Like, can I still walk from, like, Bruma to Bravil, for example, both in Cyrodiil, or is it going to be, like, only the towns themselves? I'm not totally sure what the deal is with Beyond Skyrim. Well, I think I've pretty much given all of my arguments for why they need to make Elder Scrolls 6 Akavir now. So I'll just finish up the last few comments and then probably end it there. Nah. But I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not going to hold my breath right now because we're still at least a couple games off before it actually even shows up. In Fallout, they need to add big robots you can ride, like mech suits. Or like sitting on top of your sentry
Well,
bot
we've
and
already
going...
got our mech suits.
That is totally true.
It would be nice to just bring back the fucking highwayman already. Just let us get in a car, especially in a map that's 4 times as big. You can afford to give us a little shitty car to drive in.
Hell, it's only 25 years after the bombs. The world doesn't look that fucked up. Surely we can get a functioning car. In any game, this one we would get a functioning car in.
I just think it would be really cool to be able to get in a car with like 4 people and just trust someone to drive around.
And thank you very much, Devious Dicker. I'm glad some of my ideas were interesting. So if I have been kind of thinking about a lot of these for a while, I have a lot of free time at work, that's all I'll say. A lot of that was just spent pacing backwards and forwards in a room. Just going like, come on, how cool would these things be? Let me ride a fucking dragon for reals this time, god damn it. I was watching my friend Mason play Skyrim and he shot someone in the eye and the dude just turned in his direction and said, "Is someone there?" and then walked away. Yes, that is Bethesda games. They're amazing. It's like you can be in stealth mode going through a dungeon, shoot a guy in the face with an arrow, and then he'd be like, "Hello? Someone there?" "Oh, I guess it was my imagination." And then they carry on with their day with a fucking arrow shaft like coming out of their skull. I don't care. I love Skyrim. I love Elder Scrolls in general.
To be fair, Lily, we have spoke bits and pieces about Fallout 76 as it went on, but it's mainly been dotted through rather than one dedicated section.
I mean, there's a reason we only spoke for a few minutes on Fallout 76, because there's not a whole lot of point just repeating what's already out there, you know? Alright, so we know that this exists. We've got these locations. We've got the... yeah, you know what I mean? Just kind of be arsed. Nothing new to add, that's all. And yeah, I'm not really one for like speculating about shit in general, funnily enough, but allow me to indulge in this one occasion, because eventually we are going to get information on Elder Scrolls 6 come out, and once that happens, I'm going to lose all interest, because it's not going to be what I've built up in my head. So, you know.
I think, yeah, for you, it's more a case of, like, there is no real hype machine for 76, because we already know quite a decent chunk about it.
I'm saying that, I'm still looking forward to it.
No, not in that way. Okay, what I mean is, there's no real, like, speculation about, oh, what could be here or what could be here, because they've been sort of transparent with what's in the game, but with Elder Scrolls 6, which we know nothing about, it sets your creative juices off.
Exactly, and I like me creative juices. My creative liquid
And also,
essences.
it doesn't help that I have spoke about 76 with so many people that when it came to actually doing the live stream, I kind of bottled it.
Yeah, I've watched enough hours of content on 76 and spoken to you enough about it. I got nothing else to say.
I'm very much looking forward to it, though.
Yeah, I am actually. I am really looking forward to it. And whether or not we do videos on 76, I'm still not entirely sure. Yeah, the mods on 76 are a strange question because Bethesda games have always been big on mods. It being an online-only game has kind of questioned some people, but we do know that once private servers are a thing, there will be mods involved.
Which will be great.
I'm not sure I think you're wrong when you say all mods in 76 are going to be cosmetic. I think it's paid mods. There's or paid content. There's not going to be any paid content. Maybe
they're following
DLC,
the Overwatch model, where it's sort of like a trust system that everyone's going to basically buy the game when it's fresh, and they're going to keep it at that sort of high price.
Yeah, they're going to keep adding content every season or so. You know, what you mean, like new events and maybe new areas and maybe new dungeons or whatever.
Halloween.
But they're also going to have paid stuff because they even admit themselves they have to. It's the only way to keep the servers up. But hopefully that's only going to be cosmetic. And by cosmetic, I hopefully that's just like shitty Pip-Boy skins that I personally don't give a shit about. But good on you if you do. Because if it's like
a Pip-Boy skin when I've got the Pip-Boy 2000 though, because that's all I've wanted.
Exactly. If it's actually like entire sets of power armor and like equipment that should be in the game already is paid, that's going to bug me. But yeah, I totally do. There are going to be microtransactions, that's what we're saying. But hopefully it's just for... It's only cosmetic things because they don't want it to be a pay-to-win situation. But I also hope that the cosmetic things are kind of garbage. And totally not having them isn't going to ruin shit for you.
Yeah. If microtransactions are only cosmetic, I don't care. As long as they stick to what they've said, and they promise it's all going to be like additional content as the game goes on, we'll be laughing.
Yeah. We need new races in Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, I already said earlier, probably not this time. But if they do my idea and make it Akavir or one of the other continents, then that opens the door for Elder Scrolls, whatever comes next, to have new races. Elder Scrolls 6 will just be a Euro Truck Simulator clone. Yep. Inevitably. Okay, I think we're done for comments wise. Playable slowed. Slowed with a chode. Okay, we're done. I did not want to end on that, actually, that's horrible. Slowed through the chode. I want to play as a skeleton. Play Divinity Original Sin then, and then you can play as all the skeletons you want.
You can play as many skeletons as you want in that, and they're all really creepy.
They're really polite, I was going to say, actually, but whatever.
No, there was that one like caravan trader who was like seemed a little bit off with you, but maybe it's just because I was always shit with persuasion.
Alright, we're going to end now. Thank you all for joining us, and ta-ta.
And farewell.